How's it going? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to my kitchen. So this is going to be the inaugural episode of household chemistry with Mr. Privatera, just because I know that a lot of us were talking about how we would like to kind of be in a lab or have some demonstrations, and we can't really do that right now because we are limited in when we can go into buildings. But I thought that I would invite everyone into my house, and through that we'll be able to do some interesting demonstrations and some experiments that way. So you'll probably notice I already have pre-measured some materials behind me. So in this first episode of Household Chem, we're going to be looking at the reaction between baking soda and vinegar. Now these are materials that are very common that many of you probably have in your kitchens already. And the purpose of this experiment is to discover how the masses of the vinegar and the baking soda would change throughout the reaction in an open versus a closed environment. And through that, we'll be looking to see if we can make some connections to the law of conservation of mass. So if you have all of these materials at home, then I would encourage you to just go and do this experiment in your own kitchen. If not, you can always just follow this video. But if you have the materials, or you're looking to see if you have them, here's what you'll need. So you will need some baking soda. I put them into 2 containers there, and each one has about 10 grams. You'll also need some vinegar and some kind of glass or plastic container to store the vinegar. You'll also need some Ziploc bags. Really any size of these will work as long as your containers can fit in them. And you'll also need a kitchen scale. The first part is we're going to be looking at the reaction in a closed Ziploc bag. And the second part, we're going to be looking at the reaction in an open Ziploc bag. This will be the first part. So our first step is we're going to take our 10 grams of baking soda. 10 grams is roughly equal to 10 milliliters for baking soda. We'll dump it into our first Ziploc bag. Then we're also going to carefully place our container of vinegar into this same Ziploc bag. Then we're going to turn on our kitchen scale. So we're just going to seal up our Ziploc bag really carefully. Then we're going to place it onto the kitchen scale, the whole thing, because we're looking for the total mass. So my mass here was a total of 56 grams. All right, so 56 grams was the total mass of everything before mixing in the first part. And then what we're going to do, we are just going to gently knock over the beaker. And allow the vinegar to spill out into the bag. So notice here, right, why did the bag puff up like this? What do you think happened? What filled up this bag? And then we're just gonna let it sit for a little bit longer. Once you stop seeing the bubbling up, then you'll know the reaction's completed. The lighting in my kitchen's not the best, but you'll see there, that's what the finished reaction looked like. And then when we weigh it out again, after we mix it, the mass is 56 grams. All right, so we got 56 grams of this mixture of baking soda and vinegar. And then when we open it, right, okay, we just let everything that was in there, we just let that escape. Okay, everyone, we are back now for part 2. So in this part, we still want to keep a lot of other things the same. So we're still using 10 grams or 10 milliliters of baking soda. We're still using 15 milliliters or 15 grams of vinegar. Right, we want to keep the amount of initial reactants being the same. But the difference now is we are going to be doing this reaction in an open Ziploc bag. So just like before, we're going to take our 10 grams of baking soda and just dump that right into our Ziploc bag. And I'm just going to make sure everything falls nicely into the corner there. Also, like before, we're going to make sure we really carefully add in our container with the liquid vinegar. And then we're going to weigh this on our kitchen scale. So in this second part, our total mass here is going to be 57 grams. That's the mass of the whole system. And then we're just going to really, really carefully tip over the vinegar, and we're going to let it spill out. And I'm going to make sure we get lots and lots of that vinegar out. Making sure that we keep our Ziploc bag open. I'm going to make sure everything gets nice and mixed. And we will wait until, so you might be able to see some of those bubbles there. We're just going to wait until all the bubbles die down and it stops bubbling. All right, and then the final mass to prove to everyone that this was not a falsified experiment. The final mass is 56 grams. All right, so you've all just seen that same reaction with vinegar and baking soda in an open environment versus a closed environment. And you've also seen the initial and final masses of each system. So what you should think about to be successful in your analysis, think about why those two trials were different. Was the mass conserved? Was it not conserved? And if it was not conserved, where do you think it went? Where did that extra mass go? Okay, everyone, thank you for joining me on this first ever episode of Kitchen Chemistry. That concludes this experiment. If you have these things at your own house, then by all means, do the experiment at home. If not, you're more than welcome to just use the data from my demonstration. Make sure you finish those analysis questions and hand them in. Any questions for me, please let me know.